Hi, I'm Kirsty Louise and today I'm going to show you how to make my Puffy Flower Power hair scrunchie. The pattern includes 3 sizes: regular, mini and ultra mini. You'll find a link to this pattern in the description of this video. Now let's go over the supplies you're going to need. You'll need some fabric scissors, some pinking shears, these are optional, a tape measure, some elastic, a bodkin, a safety pin, a fabric pen or something to mark your fabric, something with a pointy end, I use an old makeup brush, some fabric clips or pins, I use clips, some stuffing to give your scrunchie the puffy effect, and some paper scissors and tape or glue. As this is a digital pattern, you'll need access to a printer. Make sure your printer is set to 100% scale or actual size. You can use the guides at the top of the page to check it's printed correctly. Cut down the black line on the right hand side of the page, make sure the centre arrows meet, and stick the 2 pages together. You can then cut around the black line of the pattern. Take your fabric and fold it in half lengthways, right sides together, and give that a good iron. Place the pattern onto the fabric with the straight edge on the fold. Use pattern weights or clips to hold it in place. Now draw around the pattern. Remove the pattern and it should look like this. Turn on your sewing machine and make sure the straight stitch is selected with a stitch length of between 1 and 2. Place the fabric onto the machine just above the side tab and pop the presser foot down. Turn your hand wheel towards you so the needle goes into the fabric. Stitch forward for a couple of stitches and then back stitch. You can then continue to sew around the curve. Sew slowly around each curve. When you get to the point, stop sewing, make sure your needle is in the fabric, lift up your presser foot, swivel your fabric around, pop the presser foot back down, and then continue to sew. Make sure to backstitch when you get to the top of the second side tab. You're now going to cut into each of the points. You need to cut as far as you can into the point without actually cutting the stitches. Not cutting close enough will cause your fabric to pucker when you turn it right side out. Once that's done, cut each of the side tabs. If you're not using pinking shears, you're going to want to cut around each of the curves approximately 1/8 of an inch away from the seam. Then you're going to cut little triangles into each of the curves, just like this. This is what helps the curves lay nice and flat when we turn it right sides out. If you are using pinking shears, you can just cut around each of the curves just like this. Take the safety pin and attach it to one of the side tabs. Then carefully turn the fabric right side out. Once that's done, it will look like a tube with no curves. This is where I take my old makeup brush and gently push out each of the curves. I then give it a good finger press before taking it over to the iron and giving it a really good iron. Fold in one of the side tabs. Now you want to take a small piece of your stuffing and start by stuffing each of the petals. I start from one end and push the stuffing all the way through to the other end. This is a little bit tricky because the hole is small. I find using the end of my pen really helps to push the stuffing into place. As you can see, I'm pushing the stuffing all the way through to the other side of the scrunchie. I just repeat that same step for the rest of the petals. Once that's all done, I attach my bodkin to my elastic and start to thread the elastic through the scrunchie. I find securing the other end of the elastic with a clip helps me to not pull the elastic all the way through the channel. Try your best to prevent the elastic from twisting. I find just really taking my time and feeling the elastic as I go along really helps with this. Once it's all the way through, overlap each edge about 1/4 of an inch and clip to hold it in place. Set your machine to a zigzag stitch with a stitch length of about 2, and I set mine to the maximum stitch width. Sew the elastic, going back and forth a few times. and then it should look like this. Now you can place the raw edge tab into the folded tab, and it's at this point that I attach my label. Set your machine back to a straight stitch with a stitch length between 1 and 2 and move the width back to 0. Now you can sew that opening closed, back stitching at the beginning and the end. Cut away any loose threads, and then you have finished making your Flower Power scrunchie. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I would love and appreciate if you could give this video a like and subscribe to my channel.